you doing? I'm Mikey Madness, aka Seuss, here with the legendary godfather of graffiti, Cornbread.
And what I didn't realize at that point, that it started here in Philadelphia, and that Cornbread was the originator.
A great fallacy is that it was born in New York. It was born in Philadelphia. I usually use Cornbread as a jumping off point.
There was nobody doing graffiti and using the whole city as their landscape before Cornbread. Right.
Philly.
Right, from Philly. Nobody before him.
My name is Darryl McCray, a.k.a. Cornbread. I am the first element of hip-hop, 1965.
In 1967, when nobody writing graffiti anywhere.
Say, huh? What?
In 1967, when nobody writing graffiti anywhere.
If you look at old movies, even pre-graffiti, from the 60s, if you go to schoolyards, you'll see everybody's name on the walls. And I think it was just a natural progression.
But certainly in the 60s it was already there. I mean, I just was all over. There was, within the community, there were people who were considered to be first-rate graffiti writers. That is, artistic graffiti writers. And then there were people who just had a spray paint can, and so it ranged.
This is just in the Bronx, okay? Because in Manhattan, people were writing even before we were. There's no question about that. As far as I understand, the majority of writers were in Manhattan at that time, basically on Broadway and stuff like that. So that's where the roots of it came from. There were guys writing before us, Joe in 82 and Coco 144 and guys like that, who basically started that train orientated like writing and stuff. Tacky and Julio and them, it was like a different level of that, and it kept moving up,
Julio came out of the blue. We started seeing about 1967.
In 1967, Demetrius noticed the name Julio 204 written on the street around his house.
In 1967, when nobody writing graffiti anywhere, the city of Philadelphia was graffiti free.
When I first started writing graffiti was, I believe, in 67.
Damn. I wrote my name everywhere. For 2 years, the city of Philadelphia belonged to me.
I didn't want to write again, Dr. Cool Number 1 said last night. But when I read Cornbread was dead, I got so mad I went out and painted. I raised that boy in wall writing.
And the more we got into it, the more publicity we kept getting. There were some imposters during that period also.
So I seen Cool Earl on a cool cap. So I told him, I said, Cool Earl. He said, what's up, man? I said, what's up, Cool Earl? He said, what's up with you? Who are you? I said, I'm Cornbread. He said, no, you ain't Cornbread. I put up my marker. I got the felt whip and I went straight to the wall, Cornbread. And he just says, hello, Chewy, Bobby. He started calling the whole gang. Here go Cornbread.
Did you even know who Cornbread was at that point? Or did you hear about him?
No, never even heard of him. And then we started hearing about him. And I believe it was Chewy, Louis Colquitt. I don't know if Eddie Cool Klepto Kid was hit with him when they finally met each other.
Had it not been for Cornelius Hosey, I don't believe this culture never started. Cornelius Hosey was shot and killed. They called him Corn. And had I not attempt to make a point to prove, I don't think any of this would have happened.
In 1971, a friend of mine named Cornelius Hosey got killed. And we called him Corn, short for Cornelius. The newspapers thought the Corn was short for Cornbread. And they erroneously announced my death in the newspapers. So I know what to do. I'll snatch everybody's attention. So I went to the Philadelphia Zoo. I wrote in the concession stands. I wrote on the wall where the monkeys at, where the lions is at, on the park benches. I wrote Cornbread lives on both sides of the elephant.
You mean you painted your name on an elephant? A live elephant? Me and Cornbread, said Titted peace sign. He sprayed Cornbread and I sprayed Titty on the elephants behind.
identity peace sign sprayed his name in red across the backside of an elephant at the Philadelphia Zoo.
When the Jackson 5 came to town, there was about maybe 80, 90 people down there. I was within that crowd. My objective was to write my name on the jack.
Wow.
When the announcement on the loudspeaker that the plane will be arriving in 5 minutes, plane came, stepped that down, my daughter came to the top of the stairwell, and threw a kiss everybody. Everybody went ballistic. Michael, Tito, Jermaine, Jackie, and Marlo came down the steps. They got down the steps, everybody went ballistic. It was just hooping and hollering, screaming. In the midst of this chaos, I zipped up the steps. Cornbread on the jet.
I heard, the man said, that Cool Earl got arrested a few weeks ago for trying to spray his name on an airplane.
And it started, rumors were, we rode on the Jackson 5's airplane. Yeah. And we would, of course, we would agree, yes, we did that. And we didn't. You know, it was just little stories that would spring up from small things like that, the I-beam, to writing on the airplanes and all this other stuff. We didn't get that far.
The jet goes to California. When it gets to California, it makes the local news. Philly graffiti artist spray paint TWA jet.
Yo! Wow!
Hollywood hotshots read the article and decided, let's make Cornbread our next movies. What do you think the movies was?
Cornbread, Earl, and me. Damn! My brother.
I'm trying to tell you.
Instantly recognized as a gritty classic when it was first published in 1966, Hog Butcher was later adapted for the 1975 film Cornbread, Earl and Me.
Icon status, not a motherfucking thing. Y'all niggas want it? Get at us. You say you a pioneer, but you ain't invent nothing. We call you a lioneer, cause you never meant nothing. We was rocking Harlem World. You was on the front front, and you've been hating for a long time. You got
Cornbread, hey, listen, New York is New York, you know, and there's this thing over who started first, blah, blah, blah. Cornbread was the man in Philadelphia. And Cornbread, he was famous in Philadelphia. Stay High is famous in New York.
I'm just saying, people gotta understand the New York aerosol art movement, the New York writing movement is not connected to other movements. It's something that developed by itself in some respect through the nature of us knowing how to write, how we were force-fed it.
I just want people to realize that, it's people out there trying to disrupt the culture and pit other cities against New York City, which we're the Mecca.
Yeah.
We started this culture as a culture. I don't know why they say Cornbread, keep saying Cornbread was the first. He says that himself, but unless he was the first man, it dates back to even then. So he could never been the first, So I don't know why you asked me that question, because if you were the first, how come your hand style hasn't gotten any better? It's still infantile. This is what people need to ask. If you've been writing for so long, your hand style always gets better.